Four, three, two, one. Hey everybody, and welcome to BK's Bullets, or if you're watching on YouTube on Viper Magic's channel, my name is Brent Casina. I have Jim Afanis over here. That's right, there's a video version of this podcast. If you're listening on the Comic Time and BK's
Yes.
Bullets feed, you can go to Viper Magic's YouTube channel, link in the description, and watch my beautiful combed face, where Jim has been growing his hair out since I think June. He shaved his head and his beard, and now you can look at almost 9 months. That's like a whole
This
baby
is
you've grown on your
this
face.
is I don't know what my hairstyle is. I don't know if I've been called Amish, I've been called a monkey, I've been called a wolf. I don't know what it is. I've been called like I belong in the 70s. I'm not sure what's happening, but it's happening.
Anyway, Wolfman Jim, Amish Jim is over here, and we are here to talk about games of 2020. Yes, I realize everyone else did this in December,
Not us.
or they did it in early January. We like to wait a little while
Yes.
till everything calms down to really gather our thoughts so that we can present a comprehensive talk about the games of
Is
2020.
that what it is? We're
Meanwhile,
waiting for our it's
it's not
nothing to
it's
do
not
with it has
comprehensive.
nothing to do with being busy or anything
That's
else.
right. It's not comprehensive. It's not waiting till things die down. It's just,
Okay.
when we decided
Fair
to do
enough.
it.
Fair enough.
That's pretty much how it happens every year. Normally, in a normal year, we will be at one of each other's house recording in person. But thanks to this pandemic, we're doing it over Skype. Wear a mask, you fucks.
That's right. Wear a mask. And thankfully, Brent isn't shocked by my appearance because we FaceTime almost daily. So this isn't
Yes.
like a culture shock for him. I was on a Teams meeting the other day, and all my teammates who I haven't seen in a year looked at me and they were just in horror. It was just like. So Brent's used to this. I'm used to his slick back, beautiful hair. He's used to my Slavish appearance. So we're rocking it out. We're good.
Like, what happened to Jim? I don't understand. Well, let me tell you, I think I've played a lot more games this year thanks to working from home
Oh
in
yeah,
the pandemic, not being as busy all the time than I did last year. And
yeah,
I also did a better job at keeping track because if you recall, the last couple times we did this, Oliver, and if you're a new video listener or whatever, they're all on the Comic Timing podcast feed. BK's
yes,
Bullets, anything BK's Bullets over there is, say video games. It's me and Jim talking games.
right.
But normally I'm going through my Xbox achievements and thinking of the PlayStation games I played. Some of the few. This
Yeah.
year I said, nope, starting fresh. I'm gonna keep a games 2020 list on my phone, and I'm gonna write down every game I play. And I have that list here in front of me,
I'm
so I
proud of you.
know what I can actually talk about. That's I truthfully played.
I'm proud of you.
So no more ruffling through achievements on Xbox going, did I play that this year? I don't
Oh,
remember.
yes. The infamous iPad scrolling through, then getting
Yeah,
distracted,
yeah.
then talking about things that weren't gaming related, which I'm sure will happen today. But having a list is really good. I started a list for all the videos I've been watching. So if we ever do a video review, I could at least I'll be able to keep up with you because you started that idea of writing down things you watched. I'm like, that's a really smart idea.
Yes, I did it because I was listening to Kind of Funny one year, and Greg said he had a list of like all the movies he watched, and I was like, I'm
Right.
gonna do that. So I do have a list of films I watched in 2018, 2019, and 2020 so far.
Okay.
I don't did I think I started 2021, but I haven't watched very many movies because I've been playing so much of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I
My
got this game
goodness.
for Christmas. Let's kick it off. I'm still playing this game. I want to
Okay.
say I'm like 86 hours in.
That's a lot for you. That's a lot.
I mean, it's a lot, but remember I played 150 hours of Assassin's Creed Odyssey throughout all the DLC,
That's true.
and I think the Origins also took me over 100 hours with all the DLC,
They're
which I
long games.
recommend playing those DLCs for those two games. I can't say anything for this one yet. I think they're a little delayed. Normally there's at least one packet out by the time I get around to like playing one of these, I thought, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and there hasn't been any news at all on new ones coming out. They said they're doing some seasonal events. They did the Yule time event around the holidays. They said they're going to be adding some small, like, one-off quests from your settlement. But yeah, outside of that, I've heard no news on any DLC.
Yeah, so I'm liking Assassin's Creed Valhalla, although I'm not in love with it the way I was in love with Odyssey, and I think
Okay.
that has to do with the story. And I know you've beaten the game. I'm still gathering allies. There's a big battle, I presume is the end, the end game, so to speak. So I'm sure you can like go with them at any point in time now that it's unlocked, or they're like
Yeah.
gather more allies and you'll do a better job. Although I'm so overpowered, I'm like power level 400 or something now. It's I'm blasting through everybody like I'm taking out entire forts. But they changed a lot of things from Odyssey, and I'm not quite sure if I'm totally in love with the way they changed things. So in Origins, you had these different bow stuff, the way that you do here. So Origins, remember, is the Egyptian one.
The
And
first kind of remaster after Unity because they took a year off because it got panned. Yep,
it
I
was
remember.
after Syndicate. It was after Syndicate.
Oh, is that okay? I remember they took a year off because their sales were in the toilet. And they go, we need to rethink everything, and Origins is like the revamped
Right. So
attempt at that.
Origins is the Egyptian game, and that's when they first started introducing a light attack, a heavy attack on the triggers, and a
Right.
parry button, and using a shield and having different weapons that actually mattered for combat, whereas
Yeah.
before it didn't really matter. Um, So that one had different bows. It had a predator bow, which was like a zoom in, like a sniper scope. It had a hunter bow, which is like your all around use. You could charge it up. And I think they had a light bow, which was fast or something. That's what all they're called in this game anyway. In Odyssey, they took a different approach. And that one, I want to say you could change between the different bows by pressing one of the face buttons on your controller. I
Okay.
want to say it was like the left button, and you could change the bow. In Odyssey, way you only had one bow, but they had different types of arrows. So by pressing, I think it was the right or left, you could like
Okay.
cycle through the arrow types. So they had poison arrows and sleep arrows, explosive arrows, predator arrows, regular arrows, fast arrows, all this stuff.
Jeez, that many kinds? That's a
There
lot of
was like
arrows, dude. Oh my god.
five different like stealth like headshot, or there was one arrow that was like stronger than they had normal, and then they had like super strong. I don't know what they called them, but it was like single shot kill arrows. So if you
Okay.
want to take a guy out in a single shot guaranteed, you would try and use one of those. um,
Gotcha.
but it was nice because you could flip between them in a battle, jump back, fire off some arrows, go, oh,
Right.
I'm going to use an explosive arrow over here. Or, you came up on the top of a cliff overlooking like a fortress or fort or something, and you want to take a bunch of guys out. You could see them. You could switch to your predator arrows really easily, all with a single thing. The thing I hate in this game is they did away with that entirely,
Yeah.
because I think because they added um, the health button is now where that arrow was. Like in Odyssey, you couldn't regenerate health at a whim. You had to use one of your like special yellow skills with your adrenaline bar.
Oh, so it rewarded you for being in combat to okay,
So
that's
in
smart.
in
I like
combat,
that.
you had to use a special skill to replenish health. Once you got out of combat, it would replenish automatically, and you'd be
Right.
fine. Now they
Right.
have this ration thing, which I'm okay with, but the
Mhm.
fact that I lost that quick arrow change because of that, just to lose that for a button, I think is a poor decision. Um, because now if I'm in combat and I want to switch bows, I gotta press. I'm on PS5, so I'm pressing this button, and then I'm going over to inventory and switching bows. And if you're in the middle of an animation, you can't do that.
It's
All this
lame.
other stuff.
Yeah, I don't. This game is not designed for switching equipment very easily, and it's a chore. Switching over runes is a chore. Upgrading is a chore. So it's kind of like you pick your weapon, and that's your weapon. That's you don't really change on the fly. They don't want you to.
Yeah, I haven't really played. I'm using dual hammers now.
Okay.
Haven't done dual shields or anything. I haven't like I had a big flail for a while. I liked that. I have Excalibur that's in the game.
Yeah.
Apparently can't get Thor's hammer until the very, very end, which is kind of a bummer. So,
It's worth
but
it.
if you've already beaten the game, what's the point?
You don't have to. It's you have to defeat all of the order members,
Right. So I don't have any more clues on any order
and
members right now.
you'll there'll be one at the bottom, which I think they did a really dumb thing because you can see who it is.
Oh, I'm pretty sure
it's
that bottom guy is the king, King Alfred.
it's really poorly grayed out
Yeah.
where they don't even make it like a hidden thing.
It's
It's
like the
pretty
lights
clear who it
really dim
is.
on him. Yeah, it's terrible.
So when you find out who it is, I won't say, and you defeat that person, Then once you have all the medallions, then you get a cloak, and the cloak is what you have to wear to grab the hammer.
Oh, okay.
You can go look at the hammer now. You just can't take it.
Gotcha. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the story is a little less Assassin's Creedy and more Viking
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Oh
And I
yeah.
think that's a down. I don't really like that. I wish it was more involved with the Order of the Ancients and the Assassins and that kind of thing, rather than
Agreed.
this like, the Assassins are these guys in your village and they're like, um, not really dealing with you, or sometimes they're your friends. This one guy's
Yeah.
kind of nice, this one guy's an asshole, and that's it. I'm like, well, give me the damn assassin lore, because Origins set up this big thing.
Right.
Odyssey set up this stuff with the Isu and all that stuff, and now we're kind of like just forgetting both of those paths. And I'm like, well, why did we go down those paths? I don't know yet, so I'm still waiting for that to come to
I,
fruition.
as somebody who did not play Origins, as somebody who did not really play much of Odyssey, I was incredibly confused by what I was watching at the end. And I mean, the end is in, you really need to get you really need to clear the map, because, or find a guide that tells you where certain things are. When you find out those 10, I think there's 10 augmented reality things where you play as Layla
Hmm.
and you have to climb platforms and stuff. When you get all 10 of those, and they're scattered, I think one of them is in the high level, like that bottom left, that 340 area,
Hmm.
Hamptonshire. All 10 of those, it will make significantly more sense what's happening. And after you beat the game, there's a lot of post credit stuff. It really does tie everything together, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you've been keeping along with everything outside of the main game. All that Layla and the Isu and all that, it will make perfect sense. And I think this was a
As I
great stopping
approach
point for all that, and they can go in any direction now.
Okay. All right. As I approach the end of the game, I might watch one of those Assassin's Creed, previously on Assassin's
Do it.
Creed's Origins and Odyssey, just to refresh.
I mean, there's a
But
reason, like the staff, the whole thing with the staff, it's very important. Why it's Layla, very important. Like, and it made logical sense. I
well,
felt
Layla,
like,
you found out in Origins that she was like the great 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 granddaughter of Bayek and Ayla or something like that. Aya, his wife. I thought she was related to him.
oh,
She's like
okay, I didn't know
she's
that.
descendant. Found that out in Origins because like in Origins when you meet Layla, you're like in
Uh,
his tomb and it's Bayek's tomb.
Gotcha. So when I went through the first trilogy with Desmond, and that story, maybe it was more than just the first 3 or 4 games. When that Desmond storyline wrapped up, it was so bad to me. The way it ended was so bad that I really lost interest in, and I didn't play a lot of Assassin's Creed games
That was
then.
Assassin's Creed 3, and that's the one that we both kind of universally disliked the most.
Okay, the way that story ended with Desmond, it really didn't make much sense to me. I gotta say, this everything I've read and seen in Valhalla, I was very impressed. I was like, wow, that was like they pulled it off. In my opinion, I thought they pulled it off.
Okay.
So I think you're in for a treat.
All right. Well, that's what I've been playing most of 2021. It is not on my game of the year list because I got it for Christmas and played it for maybe like 4 days before the year ended, so I'm not counting it as
Okay,
I have not beaten the game. So it's on my list of games I played in 2020
okay,
technically,
fair
but it
enough,
is it is not on my best of list by far.
fair enough. It was on my list. If I wrote down every single game I played, it would be 2 hours of me just talking because I play a lot of games. Let me tell you, I have no responsibilities. I am not working. I am playing a game. That's pretty much my life. Um, I did like Valhalla. I think when all said and done, I think our save file is about 165 hours now.
Wow.
But we have 100% at everything. There is nothing left to do. We are patiently waiting for more stuff.
That's awesome.
It was good.
Good job.
Um, yeah, I will say the last thing I'll say about Valhalla. I thought that the way they told the story with each little territory being its own storyline, I appreciated that. I wish it had more of an impact on what was going on with your character, but I liked the approach because it felt more bite sized to me, even though we played marathon sessions. I always felt like if I didn't like what was going on, I knew in an hour or two it'd be totally new people, totally new world, and I was appreciative of that.
Hmm. Yeah, that is a little. I mean, they kind of had that before because you would go around in Odyssey, you'd have alliances, and then you would go, pledge to help the Spartans, and you'd help them for a while, and
Ah,
then you'd
gotcha.
go have to deal with the Athenians, and then you'd go help them for a while. And
Okay.
then they still had this weird alliance system in Odyssey. They had the like because you could go and conquer the territory for either side,
Yep.
and you could say like which side you were going for. So you could be like for Sparta or Athens, red or blue, and then it would say territory conquered or something like that. But I don't remember if that was like there was like a real end game after that. I don't think there was.
The one thing
I don't
I
think it
did,
rewarded you in the story to do that.
I played a little of it, and I just remember going to like a big battlefield and getting a bunch of like really good gear, but I don't remember it like changing anything. I did like the fact that HP, not HP, experience was a lot easier to get. I mean, you said you already maxed out level. We did because we played so much.
Well,
But
that's because I bought the $10 add-on anyway.
oh, they had it for this one.
They did, they did.
I
I'm
was gonna
thankful,
say
but
I
it's like, I really enjoy these games. I know somebody
oh
bought the game for me for Christmas, but I'm still want to give the developer some money, so I bought the $10 add-on. That's how I'm maxed out. And then I bought some more to get
boo.
the Sauron armor. So
Yeah, the
I'll
armor
probably
is
spend
cool.
$20 in the game, and I'll buy the DLC pack. That'll be another 40. It'll be good to go.
If you get your money's worth, that's good. But for somebody who didn't buy that and really didn't like Odyssey because they forced you to get it, I can say they did fix that problem on Valhalla, and you can level just fine, and you'll never worry about shortage of points and skills and stuff to learn. You'll always be progressing somehow.
That's good. That's good. So, what is your first topic? You always come prepared with topics.
I have a few. There's a couple things I wrote down this year. So looking back on 2020, the first thing I think is the decentralized E3, primarily because of COVID.
I was We should start with that because that was, I think, the biggest gaming disappointment of 2020
Yes,
is
yes.
how E3 turned out to be so
Oh,
lackluster, lack hype, whatever you want to call it. Just the decentralized, like you just talked about a little bit, but this
yeah,
whole idea of we're going to do one thing and then another, and just spreading everything out so far apart made each announcement thing seem like, oh, okay, well,
yeah.
I'm not that
It
excited to play games next year.
It was feast or famine all year long. It was hard to get information on things we cared about, which were the consoles and first party games. But we got plenty of these dopey conferences that were like Chinese conference and like Korean game conference and games that star plants and games that like they were all these specialized things, and there were so many to keep track of, and they were all worthless. Every single one of them, like there was no major announcements. I remember Jeff Keighley I thought he was going to be our champion, and he was going to he put out the game awards and he put out the Summer Games Fest, and he scheduled all these things, and the first thing out of the gate was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Remake, and I'm like, oh, wow, we're gonna get big hits every week, and that was the best announcement. From that point on,
Hey,
that
he
shows.
had Crash 4. Doesn't that count for
Oh, I'm
something?
sorry, and he did have the technical demo for the Unreal Engine of
Oh
some
God,
girl in a cave.
what a bore that was. I know you watched that whole thing, but
I
God,
did. 'Cause there's nothing to watch. That's the problem. So like, I'm waiting for information, and Microsoft comes out with their really bad first press conference where I think the video quality on my dopey computer looks better than the crap they put out. We had Aaron Greenberg, and it was like a 10. It was like a 640p picture. Like
how
it was
how they didn't
grainy.
figure that out? Because wasn't that like June when they did that first one?
I thought it
Like
was more like March, but it was earlier. It was right kind of after COVID
it had
came, so
been
you might be
it
more
had
June.
been long enough that people were like, okay, well, this isn't going to go away
Right.
when the summer heats up. Because I
Yeah,
want to say
yeah.
that first one was June or like late May, and by that time, I
Okay.
thought Microsoft would have wisened up if that's how they wanted to do it to make sure everybody was safe before we kind of got this consensus that if you wear a mask, you might be okay if you
Right.
check everybody before they come in.
Right.
But I thought they would have bought everybody even if it's a Logitech webcam or a Microsoft webcam, whatever they
Anything?
have, anything, mailed it to each person and mailed them a microphone, and
Yes.
say, just film your bit and parts and bring this back to the op. Maybe
Yep.
just a handoff. Hey, we bought 5. Here's a sign up sheet. Record your shit with the tech team, and
Yep.
then bring it back on Monday. Someone else will clean it, pick it up for the next person the next week and just kind of spread it out, they would have
Right.
had creme de la creme on, video cards or whatever, video quality. And instead they decided to do it live, I guess,
It was
from a
bad.
centralized place, so you're depending on everybody's internet connections to be great. And obviously Aaron Greenberg was the most fuzzy one of all. And apparently he is known
Fuzzy
paying for
Aaron.
fast internet, Mr. Gamer Guy.
He's probably like on dial-up.
Who's on
Well,
DSL.
more so, I could overlook the production value, although it's something I do obsess of with trying to make my channel look nice, and I put borders and a nice background, checking audio levels. That bothered me, but more so with that first Xbox conference, it was just a lot of trailers, and it didn't really feel like they put much effort into it. That was the one, if you recall, at the end they were going to show Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay, which turned out to be just another trailer. But I think that set the stage for disappointments in the year. Like after that came out, everything. I would argue the PlayStation reveal was good, but outside of that, I think the year sucked in terms of conferences and news.
The PlayStation reveal was good. I mean, what did I hold up earlier? A PlayStation 5 controller. That
Welcome to
is
the PlayStation Nation, my friend.
that is the next gen console that I bought first, mainly because of Miles Morales, and I really like that game. I don't think you've beaten it yet, have
I
you?
haven't even played. I
You
played
haven't
one
played
hour
it?
of it.
That's
1 hour. Well, now that I got Assassin's Creed out of the way, I'm gonna go into it.
all right, all right,
I don't have to. I'm gonna wait. I did the same thing you did for Jedi. I was gonna wait until they patched it so I don't fall through walls or buildings or whatever. I'll play it and it'll be good. But I'm really excited for it because I loved Into the Spider Verse and I want to watch that again before I play the game just to get back in that mindset.
On my account, you can watch it. Into the
Voodoo.
Spider Verse.
Um. Yeah. So I
Plug
thought.
plug.
Oh, go ahead.
Nope. Go finish that.
Oh, I was just going to say that really, I think this year was marred with just, we saw a lot of games get delayed. We saw a lot of games come out half baked. We saw a lot of announcements come out that were bad. I just don't think the game industry was ready for this. And, I could say in our line of work, at least me personally, I have been just fine working from home. It's very clear to me if you are a video game developer or you work in the biz, so to speak, you better be in an office because the stuff that these guys were putting out was not very impressive. This was not a golden year of gaming by any stretch, and I'm glad it's over.
Well, I think the benefit of video games being an at-home thing is that you didn't see a bunch of delays. Like Assassin's Creed still came out, Call of
True,
Duty
true.
still came out. The thing that did get delayed was Halo. We'll talk about that later. That may be the not a disappointment, but almost a well that thing happened. But it seemed like a bunch of studios probably did move their work to work from home. Still
Yeah,
managed to put out games in a semi-timely manner. I think
true.
the only ones that failed at doing that are the Cyberpunk group. But everything else so far that came out of these big games actually worked other than Cyberpunk this year, which is, I think, a surprise. That everything wasn't as buggy as Cyberpunk really stands as a two thumbs up, a testament to the game developers out there trying to
Yeah,
make sure that
it's
they can
true.
work from home and stuff like that. Why Cyberpunk came out the way it is, who knows? I haven't played it. I'm not going to play it. It doesn't look interesting to me. But
It's fun on computer,
yeah,
but you got to have a
movies
good computer to run it.
movies still have not come around to let's just put it out and make the money we're going to make, because
Right.
if they put out, I mean, I don't know how the movie system works. Maybe I think there's more money in games than there is movies, because you buy a game for $60 a piece, or $20, and I mean, you play it for a long time, but still, now they're going up to $70 on PlayStation, so I think there is more money in games technically
Especially
for
with the
like,
DLC and all the skins, and you
yeah,
just, what you said, it's $50 or so in Assassin's Creed so far, more to
yeah.
follow or
I'm gonna
whatever.
spend
Yeah.
20. I spent 20. I'm gonna spend 40 more probably.
Yeah. Right.
Um, But I'm curious why the movies haven't, you haven't really seen anybody just say, fuck it, we're going to put our movies out, other than Warner Brothers saying we're going to put them all on HBO Max. You know, other people have, I think Universal's doing something where they're putting their movies out and then 17 days later you can rent them for 20 bucks. You know, they're the
Disney
only
had
other
that with
studio.
Mulan, where you could buy it early. I saw that not Scarlet Witch.
Soul went straight to Disney Plus. Disney still hasn't really committed to that almost though. They're still kind of like hedging their bets that this thing's going to get better before they really have to start, bleeding money. But I'm surprised that like James Bond, I think, got kicked into the
Is
summer.
Black Widow. I had the word Scarlet in my head. I couldn't think of her name. Yeah,
Yeah,
Black Widow's been delayed. James Bond's been delayed.
Black Widow's
Yeah.
been delayed.
Mm.
Morbius got kicked to next. It was supposed to come out in March,
Yeah.
and then it got kicked into like I think January 2022. And this is a movie that's was supposed to come out in October of last year.
Yeah, a lot of
So
delays. So
not looking good.
I guess in that sense, you're right. I mean, I applaud gaming for trying. There were a lot of delays. There are definitely a lot of games that feel more early access than they probably should have. A lot of patches. I mean, Cyberpunk's definitely the poster child, but I mean, look at the amount of patches we had in like Ghost or The Last of Us, which are critically acclaimed games. Those games were getting patched like constantly to fix things, which maybe would have happened anyway. But I can't help but feel like they were still difficulty getting these things done.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that PlayStation didn't hold Last of Us Part 2 or Ghost to be a launch title.
Yeah.
I was thinking they kind of shot themselves in the foot when those games came out and we still didn't know, really didn't have a good idea of their launch lineup.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue into my other news, which was obviously the console launches in general. Xbox was much more forward about information, laying out smart delivery, deep dive of the new UI, deep dive of the controller, deep dive of the experience, the difference between the X, the S, crossplay, Game Pass. PlayStation, on the other hand, didn't say nothing. They did one press conference, which we both seem to like, but short of that, information was very hard to find.
The thing that puzzled me the most this year was PlayStation and PlayStation 4 games on PlayStation 5.
Yes,
They had this weird announcement of, hey, our top 100 most played games will be backwards compatible with PlayStation 5. And it's like, all right, so your most played games are probably all your Call of Duties, all your Assassin's Creeds, all your hockey game, or not hockey, but basketball and football. And
right.
just with those over the last 8 years, you could probably get to like 50 different games. So what's left after that? That's could be only a small contingent. Then they didn't say anything else, and then it was like right at the last second after pre-orders had closed, like all the pre-orders had been snapped up. They were like,
Yeah,
"Oh yeah, by the way, 99% of our PS4 games will be playable on PS5." And it's like, why didn't you say that at the announcement? You would have had everybody on your feet clapping like seals the same way that they did for Microsoft 5 years ago when they did that for Xbox
I
360.
know. I know. It was weird. Like they knew all along what it was, but they just assumed that maybe people assumed. And even honestly, now, still with some of the games out now, you kind of have to Google around to see like, is it enhanced? Does it at least run at 60 frames a
Oh
second?
yeah, that stuff isn't even advertised at all.
You got to hunt and peck on Reddit or just the internet in general to see if it even like, can I even like find this information at all? Because a lot of it is hidden, and there's still no master site of like games that support 3D audio or backward compatibility upres or backward compatibility frame rate resolution on Xbox. They're very transparent with what you can get per game, and I have to applaud them for that because that's something that they did not mix that message up on at all, and I feel like Sony totally dropped the ball on that.
hmm Yeah, I'm still iffy on whether I want to get I think I do want to get a Series X because of that boost thing that they're very clear
Yeah,
on most of their games. And
right.
although I am enjoying the PlayStation thing, but I haven't seen any cards yet. So that, like, if they had cards for Assassin's Creed, that's like, hey, this achievement is over here. Like, they didn't even have it.
I thought it was going to be a flop, and I mean, we're what, 3 months in and it's abandoned?
I mean, I haven't
Made it
seen.
longer than I thought.
I've only played a couple games. Well, I played more than a couple games on my PS5, but I haven't seen any cards for the newer games. I didn't see any for Miles Morales. I thought there would have been something, or I don't even know how to access it. I guess is the main thing.
You got to hit the PlayStation button, but you press and hold it. You don't
Oh
just
God.
press. You press and hold, then you hit down, then up again. Then you close it, open it, take it in rest mode, come out, and then it pops right up. It's
So
super, super easy.
the other mistake PlayStation made was switching how their
Oh my
button
god.
works.
Their user interface, period, is the mistake. My opinion, the PlayStation 5 UI is trash. I hate it.
Well, I think it's easier to find stuff than it was that giant cross media bar on the PS4. Although I didn't have a PS4 as long as most
Oh,
people.
I like that. It was very easy. The latest thing you played was on the left, then you had all the way on the right was your library, and that was all you needed.
It's still kind of that way. It's just the games are right there, and then you got to go find everything else. I think the thing that I hate the most is like why not just make it universal? Xbox, you hold down the button and you get the menu and you can turn your system off. PlayStation
Yes.
4, you hold down the button, you get that thing that pops up from the left, ching,
The quick
and
panel,
says,
yeah.
take a screenshot or shut your controller down or your PlayStation
Yes.
down.
Yes, the
Just do it
controller
that.
one.
For whatever reason, they went, we're just gonna flip flop it. Everybody who's played PlayStation for the last 8 years, we're going to
Yep.
completely give you the middle finger and make you want to throw our controller against the wall every time you wanted to shut your PlayStation down, which was more important this year than ever because there was a rest mode bug, which I'm still not sure has been fixed yet.
I don't know if it has. I know the external hard drive works just fine because I'm constantly using mine. I will not use rest mode because I was one of the unfortunate ones who put my console in rest mode, and it took me an hour to get it like rebuilt, and I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, so that I think is like the biggest mistake. And how this rest mode thing made it through.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm not a big fan of their UI because there's a lot of stuff that they took away. I'm all about you want to make it look flashier. You want to give us cuter graphics. Fine. But it was so easy on PlayStation 4 to press a button, and within 3 button presses, you had Spotify open, playing in the background. You were streaming. You could turn off your controller. You could adjust volume between your game audio and your chat audio. That's all gone, and it's buried under menus of long press, short press, six over three. It's not a quick access. Like a gamer, anybody who plays games who looked at this would immediately said, how look at how many steps it takes. The example I always give, look at how many steps it takes to redeem a code on the Xbox store. It's ridiculous. It's like 12 steps. But PlayStation is now even longer. It's even more steps to redeem a code on PlayStation. That's how bad that is.
When Xbox had Connect, it was, hey, Xbox, redeem a code. And it brought up the Connect camera and just held that QR code to it and you were done.
And it was great for the 5 people who had Connect. Yeah.
Well, there's more than five because they sold some in the beginning. Came with every system. It's a great idea.
Yeah,
The other
I'm
thing
just,
that
yeah.
I want to bring up that I never forget to turn off is the microphone is always on.
You're one of those
So
guys in
I
multiplayer.
haven't
Oh,
played any multiplayer yet,
good.
but they're gonna be completely pissed when I finish Assassin's Creed Valhalla and jump into Call of Duty
uh,
4 and start playing that while I have YouTube videos and podcasts playing just as I'm
oh
there
yeah,
for hours.
yeah.
I'm gonna have people screaming at me, "Turn off your microphone!" The fact that it's on by default is
Dude,
terrible.
horrible design. The fact that it's in the controller is horrible because it sounds like garbage. First of all, it legit sounds bad. It's definitely muffled, and you can hear the button pressing and the clicking and that like rubbing noise over the top of it. Yeah, it sounds so bad. I'm like, oh. And you join a Call of Duty match, and there's at least 4 people having conversations, babies crying in the background, guys watching TV, podcasts, talking with their wives. The first thing I have to do is mute everybody because it's like either that or I make a party by myself so I could just not have to do it every game. It's like a horrible, like, who thought of this idea? Like, it's really bad.
It was like me yesterday. I was on a late conference call and I was grilling while listening to it and talking on it, and then I came up to finish it because I had to speak at the end, and
Yeah.
then the rest of the food was ready downstairs, and my wife yells from the downstairs and goes, "Do you want me to bring you a plate?" And I go, "No, it's almost over." I was not on mute, and we still had like 10 minutes left.
Not on
So
mute.
a whole
Yeah,
lot of
that's the
that,
battle cry of 2020. Not on
a
mute.
whole lot of
Because,
that
yes.
in Call of Duty and any other.
Oh, dude, it's
Yeah.
bad. It's so obnoxious. When you start playing, if you really get into the multiplayer, which I probably pretty much every day, people are just laughing because you just hear like people talking about things they probably shouldn't. Not nothing bad, but it's just like you probably don't want to talk about this in front of other
Man, I just
people. You know
took
what
a
I mean?
giant crap.
Or babies crying,
Yeah.
and then it's obnoxious. Yeah, I think that's a bad design choice for sure.
So I
Um,
think my game I played this year that I thought was great and that got a wrong rub last year in 2019,
yes.
Jedi Fallen Order. So I didn't play it until I think after Christmas of
Okay.
2020, and it was patched. it was really good because I think I started in like January, February, who knows. But
By then it was
by
fixed.
then it was fixed because remember this game came out in November, but like late November, and it didn't make the fake cutoff for the Game Awards.
The arbitrary Jeff Keighley
Yeah,
award. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So not even to be nominated, even though by the time I think they had voted that people had played it, but it missed the nomination cutoff or whatever, which is
Okay.
absurd. I think it should have won Game of the Year 2019. I don't remember what won. I think it was some weird game because it didn't even make any nominations for
No, it got a,
Game
yeah, it was
Awards
forgotten.
2020. And I thought that was absurd because that game was way better than it had any right to be. I thought it was cool, even though you didn't like the story where you go for this thing and you destroy it at the very end. You know, like your whole point of the thing is
Oh,
like,
the whole,
"Ah,
you mean the whole point of the
yeah,
game? Yeah, yeah, I remember.
let's get this thing and then let's destroy it." And you're like, "What? What?"
The game that won in 2019 was Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
Okay. Was this game better than Sekiro? I don't know. I didn't play Sekiro, but was it on par? I think so. Could have been anybody's game, probably. You know,
Yeah, Respawn, I thought the story was really compelling, honestly. I like that they made a character we knew nothing about, and they made us care about them. They added an ancillary cast of characters who I legitimately cared about. The story was great. The Vader cameo was phenomenal. I did not see that coming. I don't think a lot of people did. Yeah, and then you get to the end, and then he's like, "Hey, so, anyways, this whole time you were looking for this item," and then he breaks it, and I'm like, "What was the point?" It was exact. It was like they said, make a Star Wars game, but do not touch any canon, and whatever you put in, you have to take out. It's like he broke it, and then everybody dies, and I'm like, this meant nothing, and it was just. This was before the
well,
Mandalorian days. I feel like I don't know.
Mandalorian season 1 was like out and done by the time this was out or whatever. But the problem with Star Wars canon right now is that they they want to use a Jedi as the main character for everything.
Yeah,
The problem is the most popular period of Star Wars is that
the one
New
that
Hope,
everyone likes.
so Jedi, the one everyone likes, the classic Star Wars,
Yeah,
that whole era of the Empire and the Rebellion. And there's
right.
supposed to only be what, two Jedi, Luke and Obi-Wan and Vader are basically like the three and the Emperor
Yep.
because of Order 66 at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Now
Yep.
you have all this other canon where, this guy's alive, here's some young Padawan that survived. Star Wars Rebels is a cartoon show that where, this other Padawan survived and then trains this other guy in the Force. So now you have Mandalorian happening way after Jedi, like 9 years after Jedi, and Ahsoka Tano's still alive. And she's still a Jedi, and it's like, how many Jedi are actually survived? Because I thought the entire idea was we're all at war, surrounded by clone troopers, so that when the Emperor calls in, hey, Order 66, execute, we know that we're going to wipe them all out.
That was the point.
So
Yeah.
the problem is that those movies are so old, and that's the most popular thing since there's supposed to be no Jedi. And, you don't want to have Luke and Leia because people get upset that, oh, that's not Luke's voice, that's someone else. They couldn't get Mark
Yeah.
Hamill.
Right.
You
He
know,
does everything.
um,
Do you,
they keep having to make up characters and then find a way to like do away with them or kill them off
yes.
because
So, do you want there to be a sequel to this game? Do you think there needs to be a sequel with the same character?
I think so. I think Cameron Monaghan, the actor that played Cal Kestis, he's a very good actor. He was on Shameless where I first saw him. He was on Gotham. He played
Gotham.
the
That's what I know. Like the Riddler. Yeah, that's what I know him
uh,
from.
he's the Joker or the Joker clones, doubles, whatever that turned out to be. He was on there.
Oh, I thought he was the
Um,
Riddler. He was the Joker. I just remember he was like a famous, like,
he
oh
was
my.
like
Yeah.
two or three characters, and I think they were playing a game for a long time. I didn't watch the whole series, but from what I paid attention to after I stopped watching, it seemed like they're playing with the idea of, is this guy the Joker? Is he not? And I think one of his characters ended up turning into the Joker. He's a very good actor. I'm a fan of him. So
Yeah.
I
I
would
thought he did
play
great.
anything that he's in. I really enjoy him a lot. So I do want another Fallen Order game because of that. But I think if we do get another game, I don't want to start with zero force powers or anything like that.
Yeah.
My biggest complaint with that game is, if I remember correctly, is like how long it took you to get fully powered up. Whereas like
Yes.
my classic Jedi game is Jedi Outcast, Jedi Knight 2.
Yep.
And that game, like, you didn't take that long to get force jump, force push, force pull, and those are like the basic ones that you got in Fallen Order, I think. But like, it took forever to get that
Yes.
whatever that last power was and stuff like that. Whereas Outcast was like, this was glory days of PC where every F button was a new power, and it was like
And
force lightning, force this, force that, and it was overkill, but you still had the basics like down early. And this guy took so long to get that stuff.
yes, he did.
I think that was the biggest detriment to that game is how long it took you to get fully powered up. And by the time you beat
Far
it, it was over.
Yeah, far too much coming of age in that. And Zelda Breath of the Wild already broke the mold of giving you everything at the beginning of the game and finding clever ways to make you use it throughout. So there had already been precedent set there, but for whatever reason, these guys didn't get the memo. They're like, nope, we're going to start. You're going to be a level 1 guy, and by the end, you'll be able to double jump, but not for like the first 20 hours. And that
Well,
was
and
kind of lame.
and the thing of all their different levels are like linear, but there's hidden areas you can't get to until you get a power from a different
Yeah,
planet and then come back.
a lot of Metroidvania esque. Yep,
But at the same time, all the enemies are back when you come back.
of course.
And it's like,
Of
well, I
course
don't
they
want
are.
that. Because those enemies were a pain in the ass. Like that game was difficult. I tried playing on the regular setting, and I did dumb it down because I'm not a Soulsborne guy, and it was too much for me. I was like, I'm gonna hate this game if I played at the regular level. So I did put it on the dumber or easier mode for me. But
Well,
like anything, like Assassin's Creed, I don't do that. But it's just this one was too much. I thought.
now that you have a PlayStation and you got that awesome PlayStation collection, Bloodborne is on there and it's one of the best games ever and you should play it and
Does it have an
you
easy
can
mode?
summon your friends who
Does
can
it have an
come give
easy
you a
mode?
hand. Come give you a hand, we'll beat it together, you'll laugh, you'll realize how beautiful it is and you'll be like, "Wow, I really missed the boat on this." And I'm like, "Welcome, my friend."
Welcome. We'll see.
Welcome. The only other big piece of news I had this year, we talked about the console launches, and I think this is really important because it tells a story here. Is that Xbox bought Bethesda, which I have been, when I read that news, I lost my mind. And I know I'm a Bethesda fanboy, but I make a list every year, and you can hear it or see it, of Xbox games that came out this year. There's not many. So they need all the help they can get. And I still feel like, despite Ori, which I didn't play because it's too emotional for me and I will cry like a baby, um, I tried to play the first one and I couldn't do it. It was too sad, and I'm like, I'm out.
It wasn't sad. It was just sad in the beginning, and once you got past that
The
beginning
little
part,
guy, your
you
little
never came
creature
back to it until the
dies.
very
It's
end.
too much. No, it's too much for me. Outside of that, looking at the Xbox releases this year, the ones that I think were more substantial than others, you had Bleeding Edge, Gears Tactics, Minecraft Dungeons, Battletoads, Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yep,
And I'm not pausing. That's the end of the list.
yep. There was supposed to be the biggest part of that list. Was supposed to be Halo Infinite, but we
Well,
saw how that looked in what was that, July or August?
not ready. Definitely not ready for prime time, and that was a good move to wait. But you hear about Microsoft buying these studios, and they have this big graphic of like 30 or I don't know how many, 10, 15 studios they own, and then they put Bethesda on there. So you're going to get, which to me is the greatest studio on the planet, is Bethesda. But still waiting for these games to drop, and here we are, shiny new consoles, and not a lot to play.
I mean, do you think that these Bethesda games, like, I don't think this Indiana Jones game from Machine Games will be exclusive to Xbox. It might be. It could
I
be.
think it's going to
In
be.
my opinion, it should be.
I
If
agree.
Sony's going to play hardball with Spider-Man, then
Yeah,
Xbox
right.
should do something else with these deals that they've got. But
I
I
agree.
don't know. Who knows?
No, I agree with you.
But I don't think that sale is even finalized yet. Like, is it? I don't know
Oh,
if
with
they
Bethesda,
announce
you're
these
saying that you're
things.
saying Bethesda and Xbox, you mean?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like finalized or they
Early
announced that it's
February is the
over.
complete acquisition of ZeniMax, which is the parent company. But yeah, it's soon, very soon. But it's enough owned that it's real. It's not like it's going to fall through or anything. But I don't know what's going to change.
My opinion is Xbox needs all the help they can get as a former Super Xbox fanboy who's now a trader,
Former
just like
super.
you
Oh,
were last generation. Um, yeah, I think they need all the help they can get, and I think they should use all the guns in their power, every bullet in their chamber,
Yeah.
to try and kill the competition, so to speak. And I know that they're gonna say that, oh, we're not in competition with Sony and blah blah blah,
Right.
and that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I don't know what they're doing if they're not doing this, because they're just pushing people away. Like today's announcement, they announced that Games with Gold Live is going to
What a
go from
price
$60
hike.
a year to 120.
Woo.
So they're really pushing people, I guess,
Go get
because
Game
now they
Pass.
go to Game Pass because you get all that stuff in it.
Better go get Game Pass.
I'm not getting Game Pass until it comes to the goddamn iPhone.
I
That's
know,
number one.
right? Yeah. Here.
And maybe I start traveling. I think I've got a couple more months on Games with Gold for a while, but until I'm traveling and I'm playing it on my phone or my iPad a lot when I'm on the road, there's no need for me to get it.
I would agree. It's definitely being at home. I mean, obviously they didn't anticipate the world to shut down, but had we been back to business as usual, or when we go back, that's going to be pretty cool. If it's on iPhone, that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, because I'm first thing I'm gonna do is plug in the screen mirroring cord into the TV
Yeah.
in the hotel, and it'll be like, boom, there you go.
Yep.
Hopefully it works with the Wi-Fi there. Who knows?
That's another problem.
Right. Or the LTE. We will find out. I guess I will not be playing multiplayer games on that.
I would agree. Yeah, I
Mostly
suspect.
games.
Well, I mean, 5G, I get 5G. Sometimes it works pretty good. Sometimes it just says 5G and it doesn't work very good.
Yeah, who knows? I doubt they're gonna have that in the places we get to go.
I would agree.
But yeah, I think I think they need to use every tool in their shed to try and claw back some market share, honestly.
I feel like they're selling well though. Like I don't know any numbers have been released. I don't think they do that much anymore because they kind of got trounced on with the previous generation. But I mean, it seems like every time they list them on the internet, people are scooping them up. It seems to be a hot thing. Like you can't just go to Amazon and buy one now. They're sold out everywhere.
Well, I
So
think them being, free and clear, or not free and clear, but open and transparent about everything that happens on that machine
yeah,
helps out a lot.
agreed, agreed.
The expandable storage is easy to understand. They
Yeah,
have an option right away, whereas I don't think Sony even has
nothing. Even if you
hard
bought
drives
an
out yet.
M.2, it's disabled. It will not work. Even if you have, which I have one. You can't even use it.
Yeah, so I think that was Sony's mistake, is going, oh, we're gonna have these SSD drives, and we'll tell you which ones are approved. And it's
One
like,
day,
if you're not gonna have one or two on the market from your partners that are
yeah,
approved when this thing launches,
yeah,
like you're not dead in the water, but you're shooting yourself in the foot a little bit, like in the pinky toe,
yeah.
for
I
major
agree.
users like you who are wanting to have this vast library of games on one machine.
I would pay. I am ready. I am ready to go. I mean, I don't mind having the external hard drive. It's definitely a little slower than the built-in one, but it's fine. But yeah, it seems half baked. Honestly, it really does. PlayStation just a lot of their features just don't really seem. And Sony does this. I don't know if you're going to stay with Sony after all this. If PS6 comes out, if you're jumping back or what, but you will see the rise and fall of Sony over the next 5 years, as we have seen the last 15, where
Yeah.
PlayStation 2 was God's gift to humanity, and then PlayStation 3 was a kick in the nuts. It just happens that way. So
Well,
we're in an
if
odd
they
number
keep
right now.
coming out with killer games, I'll stick around for their exclusives. To
Sure.
me, it doesn't really matter, I guess, anymore where I play these other games, but I do like the Xbox controller. Although I do like this, I'm not feeling the pains of playing on this the way I kind of did not like the DualShock 4. Um,
The most
I don't know.
satisfying when you get into Call of Duty, the most satisfying moment is using a big weapon, large caliber weapon, and killing somebody with it. And how it vibrates and shakes in your hand. It feels very authentic as opposed to like a pistol, which is like a light vibration. It makes those moments feel even better. And I'm really excited for like the next God of War. I'm thinking of like Kratos smashing somebody and like how hard that
And
thing's gonna
that's
kick.
supposed to be this year, right? 2021?
Supposedly, yeah. Supposedly, it's supposed to come out this year. We're supposed to get Horizon Zero Dawn at some point this year, if that's still a thing. Ratchet and Clank, I know, is going to use a lot of that gimmicky type stuff as well. So, yeah, I mean, Astrobots, I think, is a perfect example of just how cool it can be when done correctly. So the tech's there; they just need to do something with it.
Yeah, they need people to use it, I guess.
That's the hope.
Anyway, okay. So what did I play this year? I played a lot of old games, and I still have a lot of these old games on my shelf
Okay.
that I borrowed from you.
Yes.
Because luckily, I decided to borrow a bunch of PlayStation 4 games from you right before the
Right as
pandemic.
it started, right
It's like,
before.
it's like, maybe I should borrow some games from Jim in case I never see him again.
I still have your Hulk comic and some other one.
Yeah,
I don't know where they are, but I'll find them. But
you better
they're
find
in
them.
the house.
I know exactly where your games are. I'm staring at them right here.
I'm
So
not
I
worried.
played. Here's the list of what I played. Order 1886. This is not a very long list, which I thought was disappointment.
Yeah, it
I could
was.
not wait to be through with that game. I'm glad it was short. It's beautiful,
That was
but I
it.
thought it was very like mediocre.
And that studio, by the way, is now exclusive with Facebook, so you will never see a sequel.
Okay, that's fine. Uh, Jedi Fallen Order we talked about. I finally played Until Dawn. I really like that.
What a great game. God, what a
I
good
didn't
game
play
that
it
was.
multiple times to get multiple endings. I just YouTubed them.
Yeah.
Uh, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which I think is the game I played the most of in 2020 in terms of time,
Yeah,
because
you got into Battle Pass and everything. I was really proud of you.
that was the game that I was playing right when COVID hit, and it was like everybody go home and work from home. It's like, okay. So I spent hours and hours on telecons just maiming down people while I was listening to someone else talk and chiming in once in a
Oh
while.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think I have like probably 200 hours in that game. Now, yeah, I paid for two battle passes, or two or
Proud of you.
three
Proud of you, dude.
seasons.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
great.
it was great. I played Uncharted 4, which I liked. I liked a lot. Uncharted 4 Lost Legacy, and then right after that, I got the trifecta, the Naughty Dog trifecta, Last of Us Part 2. I, I played and beat that, which I really did like until the end, because I didn't want to play the end.
It
Uh,
sucked. The ending to me ruined that game. I don't know if ruins the right word, but the ending to me made the rest of the game seem not as fun.
like, I think it should have ended when she's back with Dina and the baby, and she's just like messed up and was like, maybe I shouldn't have gone and got revenge. Like, it wasn't worth it.
Yes.
All these people died. And it's like,
Yes.
nope, fuck it. We're gonna go. We're gonna finish this. I'm too messed up. And it's like, well, I hope you got what you wished for, because you don't have anything after that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna get a part three. Honestly, I don't think we should.
I hope they don't, honestly. And I think that's one of those weird games that the critics love. And it's won so many awards and award shows and, kumbaya. And the fans did not. That's really one of the great divide games that you look at it legitimately and you're like, okay, like something happened here. Somebody got bought off or somebody got woke or something because we went in totally different
I
directions.
think it was a mixture. I'll never say that game critics get bought off. I think that's false, but
Okay.
because there's not enough money for them. Because if they got bought, they would have, Cyberpunk would not have died on the vine the way it has. Nobody would have said anything from the game's journalist crews. But I think it was a mixture of that woke part where you had Abby, who was a female, but she was so jacked that people thought she was trans, and then you got into this weird cancel woke culture clash where people were like, "You're making me play a trans character," and in fact, she wasn't the trans character at all. It was
Levi.
yes, Levi, one of the other I forget what that, not their race, but their group.
The Whisperers or something.
I
Or
don't know.
that's maybe Walking
The
Dead.
guy,
Yeah, I
the guys
don't.
in ponchos all the time,
Yeah,
right?
they hide in the trees and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of that was actually the trans character, and that didn't matter at all to the game. But
It
I
was
think people
relevant. Yeah.
thought they were gonna make you play as this, trans person, or they got mad because they thought a trans person killed Joel, and it just got lost in that. I think at the very early part of
I
that,
agree.
and
Yeah.
many people didn't play because Joel got killed, and that was spoiled early on. So I think there's a lot of stuff to play with the fans not liking that game. Whereas, like, I didn't really care, but I enjoyed playing it. I just didn't like the ending.
I love. Yeah, I was gonna say, still beautiful game by today's standards, next gen standards, whatever. Gameplay loop was phenomenal, world building phenomenal, acting, facial features, believability, really, honestly, but all believable. And then you get to the end, and it's like, I don't think Ellie would act like that. I don't think Tommy would act like that, and I don't, and it's like it felt like a major betrayal of what the characters we grew to love, and that's why it really at the end, I didn't feel it at all. It really bummed me out at the
Yeah,
end.
I think with the press, I think they focused on like, I mean, you go to all these tech demos and events, and they're like, look at the teardrop shape we can have out of our
Oh
character
yeah,
right now.
right.
It's so lifelike and realistic. Like I think I texted you one of these tweets after Last of Us came out, and it was like, look at this picture of Abby breathing, and or
Oh
maybe
yes, the
Ellie
sound. There
because
were different wave files depending on how much she ran, and oh
all
yeah, I
these
remember
different
that.
weird breathing stuff that no one cares about and no one notices unless you point it out. I'm sorry to the developers who worked on it.
No one cares.
Unless you point it out, no one's ever going to notice. And nobody did notice until somebody tweeted about
Yeah,
it.
she hyperventilated when she got near a ledge, and the control. I was like, oh okay,
I mean,
cool.
okay, cool, but I think the thing, like, there was that, and then there was like the animation of like her ribs or something in a cutscene was like,
Okay,
oh,
something
the
random.
best back animation. Look at all the way her muscles move and stuff, and I'm like, it's in
Yeah,
a cutscene. Because the cheat with that game is that it had so many cutscenes where they zoomed in, and their character models, when you were like actually controlling them, was
yeah, you had mentioned
detailed
this.
enough,
Yep.
but it was a different character model, and I don't know what the if it's proved or not, but you can't tell me that the cutscene character models are the same ones when the camera zooms out and you get to control them. Because when you push that camera in, when you're like in a moment of stillness, you're not getting like, and Ellie's talking to Tom, not Tommy, or the who was the Asian guy that was running around with them, Dina's
Jesse.
ex-boyfriend Jesse. Okay, they're talking and their mouths are just flapping. They're not emoting at all.
Yeah, right, right.
So it's like you can't tell me that
There's
they're
tricks. There's definitely developer tricks to preserve frame rate and bandwidth and such. I agree.
they definitely push the tricks to the limit, and I think that's what people got so,
Yeah.
the journalism community or whatever got so in love with that game.
Yeah, it's just so weird, and it's almost like they doubled down after people started to dislike it. It was like, no, you're gonna like it, and it just made it worse. But it's polarizing. Still to this day, it's polarizing. A lot of people don't like it. I feel like Naughty Dog's stock, so to speak. I don't know if they're actually stock. I don't think they are, but like their name value. I think it went down significantly after this game because I think
Yeah,
a lot of people were incredibly frustrated, like me, with what they did with beloved characters. You want to kill off people, that's fine. I get it. No one's going to survive, but like the reactions to that, and it was too much bloodlust, and it was like this isn't real. As goofy as the world is, the zombies, all this stuff, whatever, like, it was believable up to a certain point, and then it's like, okay, we're just killing because we have cool shoot mechanics in this game, so let's just throw them in there and we'll figure it out. And I'm like,
yeah. I mean, any of these games, you go out there and they're like, I don't want to kill people. And it's like, remember how we got to this point? You just killed, 15 of
yes,
these people,
right,
10 clickers. We shot everybody, shot a bunch of dogs in this game, with no
exactly.
abandon, just don't care.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
agree. I agree.
I've also played Middle Earth: Shadow of War, which I did end up liking. It was
Did you
just
beat it? Like,
really long.
beat it?
I beat it because since I played it so late,
They
it
gave it
was
away. Okay.
after they patched it and made the end game not as ridiculously long.
You didn't have to conquer like 7,000 forts and buy a bunch
No,
of goblins out of boxes and all that
didn't have
crap.
to
Okay.
do that at all. It was fantastic. I
That was a
played,
fun game. That was
I
a fun game.
finished Halo Wars 2, which I think came out a year prior or 2 years before.
I think it was 2017 or 2018.
I finished that. I thought that was okay. I restarted it from the beginning, but I wasn't like jumping into matches and being like, we
It's
just play without the story.
the story in of itself was garbage. I think that is the only thing you need to know going into Halo Infinite is
That's a
Atriox because
mistake.
he's going to be the big bad.
That's a mistake in my mind.
Yeah, and typical Halo, if you really want to know about him, you got to read the books, which I did. Shadows of Reach, great book, but
This is
yes,
why I am friends with Jim. He can fill me in.
you can
Um,
nerd out with me over
yeah,
Atriox and
yeah. I
Casper and all
I
those guys.
finally played Journey, and I was like,
I didn't
okay, I
get
don't know
it.
why people were so crazy about this game.
It was dumb, right?
It was
I
it
didn't like
was
it.
I don't know, very simple. Took a while. I was like, all right. I
So
wasn't crying at the end.
I guess the gimmick with that was you were not supposed to realize they were other humans helping you until the end.
Uh-huh. I
And
don't
then
know.
there was like a big reveal of like, here's all the other players that joined you on the journey. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I guess I kind of felt like these are obviously players because they're being idiots. Like,
Uh-huh.
the computer's either really dumb or, but like, I never felt like And it was a basic game, but I think it was just a novel concept in the time that like no one had done that before. You didn't know the big twist. That was
I
the big twist.
I played about 6 hours of Skyrim, I think, and I got lost
I'm proud of you.
because there's not really like Assassin's Creed is very like go here, do this, do that. So I know that I probably need to jump back in, but that game is, even though I was gifted it to me by my best friend Jim here, uh, with the super duper remaster edition, it
It's
still
still
looks like shit.
you really need to play it at 60 frames a second, so you need to get an X
I need to get an
or get
X.
it on PlayStation, and actually you could probably mod it. But yeah, yeah, that game. I love that game for a lot of different reasons. You jumping into it now 6 7 years after it came out, maybe longer, I don't know how long it's been. There's a lot of stuff in that game that they were the first to do that you're like, oh, it's a big open world, so what? But like when that game came out, that was the big deal.
Right.
Like that did not exist.
And like their get a sword animations is literally
Oh,
this,
it's
like as
bad.
it's been for the last 15 years.
It's
And
bad. It's bad.
it is
It's
so
bad.
I don't know if that's gonna, I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm gonna jump back into that, honestly. I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, which I loved. Call of
Great
Duty
game.
4 Modern Warfare Remaster. So this is the first remaster, not the second one.
Call of Duty 4. Okay. That's the first one with Captain Price,
This is the
right?
first one, yeah. So I
Okay.
played that, and that remaster
It's
is,
good.
I think it was 2 or 3 years old. It's not great though. Like
Oh,
it's
you
not
didn't like it? I thought it was okay.
it was okay, but it wasn't pristine the way that, like, I don't know, these newer games are. I thought it was going to be more of an update, and it
Okay.
was like they just redid a couple things. So
I mean, those games running at 60 frames a second, they were really ahead of their time in terms of polish in that sense and like velocity of the game. There's really not a lot to do with it. You might be able to throw lighting textures or little things on, but there's not much to do. It was like it was pretty good when it came out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get the PlayStation 5 era. I played Astro's Playroom, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I loved. Far Cry 5 I played on the Xbox for a little bit, and I'm probably halfway in that game.
That's a good. You need to finish. You need to see that game through. I think you'll like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I really was playing it, and then uh, I think the PlayStation 5 came in and took over my life. Infamous Second Son I played from the PlayStation Collection. That game I thought was just okay. I think
Yeah.
because it was so old. This
Yeah.
was
It's
like a
old.
launch game from PS4, and it did
Mm-hmm.
not, like,
Didn't
I don't
age
know
well.
what it was very dark, like visually,
Yeah.
not story-wise. And the story wasn't interesting enough for me to like play it again a second time as the good side. And I didn't really like that at the very beginning you chose good or bad, and then they still presented you with like missions like, here's the good mission right next to the bad mission. It's like, well, can I try and be good? And they're like, nope, can't try and be good, you got to play the bad, not available to you. um
You're a bad man,
you're a
right?
bad man. I don't even think I looked up the alternate ending for that. I was so like, meh. Need for Speed Payback I'm still playing. I'm enjoying that.
I
That's
love that game. I thought it was stupid fun and just racing around was fun and the soundtrack was phenomenal and it handled very arcadey, which made it fun because you could do like ridiculous things with your car. I thought it was cool.
it's not penalizing you for jumping off the road or anything like that.
No, not at all. Yeah, they and your car never takes damage, or if it does, it's cosmetic, and you can
Yeah,
just you
all the
can
damage is
go
cosmetic.
you can go ham. Yeah, it's fun. It was fun.
Monster Hunter World, I think I played for 2 sessions, so maybe a total of 2 hours, and I was like, not for me. Very Japanese. The lip flaps threw me off. And then there's the fact that there's so much to do right away.
Yeah,
And they're just like, here's your town. Good luck. Go find a quest on the board. I'm like, where's the board? Like, what does the
it's
icon look like? I don't know. It's very.
it's funny because I just started getting back into that game. I was actually playing it a little bit today. I just did a hunt for a monster, and I looked up something online, and I think I'm about 70 hours into that game, and I watched a YouTube video today, and I'm like, I didn't know that. And I was like, you could do that in the game? And I was like, no way. So that game, if you want it to be fun, you have to invest time in it, and I get it. That's what really turned a lot of people off because it is not explained at all. It is purely like the message forums, YouTube, Reddit, whatever. Like you're gonna struggle for a
Yeah,
long time,
that's not for me.
and the payoff isn't there for people, and I understand that.
I played a little bit of the Rocket Arena. Did you play the Rocket Arena? It was a free game, I think.
No, is that any fun?
Yeah, it was fun. I played for a good 3 hours one day.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat 9, I played. I
Yes, you did.
still
That
have
was on
not.
PlayStation Now, right?
I got it on PlayStation Now, which is the streaming service
Yep.
or almost Game Pass like service. I need to discontinue my sub unless I'm gonna play. I think I wanted to play God of War Ascension was also on there, but that was the only two I think I wanted to play.
Okay. Okay.
But I need to I need to play that other one and discontinue it so it stops charging me. I think it charged me twice already. I still haven't beat Shao Kahn. That fucking Shao Kahn. You
Cheats.
battle him twice in the story mode.
He cheats.
He was insane the first one, and he's still insane on the second one. And at this point, I'm just like, I'm just gonna watch the ending on YouTube. And then Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the last thing I've played. I'm still playing that since Christmas.
When you finish Valhalla, what do you think you're gonna go? Is it back to Far Cry then? At that point?
I've got Call of Duty Cold War. I've got I bought Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, so I want to replay the story of Mortal Kombat X now that I've played 9 because Mortal Kombat 11 is like a bunch of time travel stuff that goes back to 9 and 10, I
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
So I want to refresh my brain for all that so I can kind of understand. So I want to play that, and I do have Immortals Phoenix Rising as well,
Me too. Still in the
which
wrapping.
I want to play. I bought Doom Eternal on the holiday sale. I could go play that. So I got a lot of games on my PlayStation I can play before I jump back into the Xbox. And because it's the shiny new thing, it might be the one that I'm playing. I
The
don't know.
one I did not hear on your list that I really think you should check out is Days Gone.
Days Gone, I have. I don't think it's installed, but I have it. It's ready to
It's
go.
yeah, Days Gone and Bloodborne are my two picks. Days Gone really caught me off guard with how good it was, and I put up with the crap that it had. I think they did 17. I think they did 32 updates in 17 days, if I remember correctly. It was like it set the record for updates, but it's 60 frames a second on PlayStation 5. It looks
I was
beautiful,
gonna say it's
great
supposed to be a
draw
lot better now,
distance.
right?
The performance is it's crystal clear. Digital Foundry just did a deep dive video on it. It looks great, and the story was actually pretty good. It was weird but good. Like you stick with it, and I think you'll enjoy it. And Bloodborne, obviously, just because
So I guess
it's such a good game.
after Valhalla, I think I'm going to be looking for shorter experiences. So is Days Gone a Valhalla level open world, or is it
Yes,
like
yeah.
Ghost?
No, go don't if you want it. I think Days Gone took me about 100 hours, so don't play
Really?
Days Gone. If you want something short, yeah. You know what you should play? Here's a fun fact for you, all listening at home. Brent, how many times have we played PlayStation 5 together?
Zero.
Because you won't play Call of Duty with me. It's the greatest game on the
I think I
console.
will jump into that next because of that fact and
Dude,
because
we
it's
have so
short.
much fun in that game. Zombies is hysterically fun. There's the battle pass, there's great maps, there's great guns, 80s music. I mean, come on. It's a win. Hey, it's a win.
It's been almost a year since I started playing um, Modern Warfare on Xbox.
So
Maybe I'll
you're
jump back in.
ready. You're ready for more? Is
Marvel's
that what you're
Victory is
saying?
like have a breathe. I've had a plenty of breathing time from the Twitch shooting of Call of Duty.
It's fast. It's definitely fast paced. It's definitely very twitchy, but it's rewarding. I do like it. And there's some bigger battle. And zombies is fun too. If you just want to play zombies, that's a lot of fun. Just chill. You laugh at the zombies. It's a goofy. There's a plot. It's goofy, but there is a plot.
Okay, so biggest gaming disappointment of 2020. I think many people would say Cyberpunk 2077, but I haven't played it. I think you've played it a little bit. I would put forth Marvel's Avengers.
That was definitely a pretty big disappointment.
I, I have not played it, but from what I can tell,
Yeah,
there's no reason to go play it. Like
there is
I
not.
was gonna buy it and look for it on sale. It was on sale. I still didn't end up buying it, mainly because there is no there was this long list of DLC characters that was leaked before the game came out, and it was long and inclusive, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
But apparently, they can't. I think the first DLC character is out, and even then, it's not one you would want to get excited about.
yeah.
So I'm not really sure. And remember, that was the big deal last year too, is they said Spider-Man exclusively on PlayStation 4,
National uprising.
Marvel's Avengers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
honestly, I don't know if they're gonna get all the way to Spider-Man or whatever it is because
I kind
what
of
a
wonder the
what
same
a
thing.
character. and that
So
game did not take off. It did not grab hold. It's not a Destiny
no.
level game, and I don't know. I think that game's gonna die a quick death here this year.
I played the beta on computer and it brought my computer to its knees, and that should not happen. And I knew if it did not look good on my computer, it would not look good on PlayStation 4, and it did not look good on PlayStation 4. So, not only that, performance issues aside, it wasn't an exciting plot. The Avengers they chose were kind of half-assed. Not to say that like Hulk isn't cool, but like there's a lot of good characters they could have choose from. And then the villains, like they were nobodies. Like Taskmaster, like I know you know who he is, but I didn't.
Well,
Like
apparently Taskmaster and MODOK are maybe like
Modok.
the only two villains in that entire game, and I'm like,
It's all
really?
robots.
You have
Yeah.
many other villains that you could pull from, and like, what are you waiting for? All you have to do is call this a Masters of Evil game, and you can pull in all these weird, obscure villains from all these different characters, and you'd have no problem having a multitude of villains to fight. But if you're just fighting robots the entire time, like, I think that was the other thing that's turning me off was I heard that, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I got tired of the Destiny 5 aliens in the first game, and I still played the second game and all the expansions up until like the last
Yeah.
one. And when it became clear that Destiny was not going to introduce a new villain type and just
Right.
reskin these old ones, I was like, no, no.
You had what 22 movies that came out before this game did, or whatever. You can't figure out one good guy from all. Like, they wrote the game for you. This was a license to print money, and they blew it. I don't know. Like, looking in hindsight, Square Enix was not the right company to do this. This was a bad idea. And I would agree. I think that is definitely one of the worst disappointments because how hot the movies were up to that point with the Avengers capping off and the, Infinity War. Like, what a phenomenal way to kind of cap off that universe. And then it's like, oh, but the fun's still going to continue at home. And it's like, no, no, it's not.
I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot choosing what they did. I mean, I don't know what their license is for, so maybe it was limited to only these
Maybe, yeah.
characters. And they thought, well, let's start with the core team, which was in the first Avengers movie from 2012.
Yeah.
Well, when you do that and you kind of base everybody's looks on the movie, but not quite, and they're a little bit like,
Yes.
Captain America is way bulkier in the game than he is in the movies, which I don't have a problem with. I think, Chris Evans is fine, he's great, but I do like a bulkier Cap. But I do take issue with their costume designs. Their costume designs were not up to snuff.
The
I told you, as
Yes.
soon as they showed Iron Man and they had
Yep.
that stupid little dot in his forehead, I was like,
Yep.
that armor design is dumb. Hate that. Don't want to play as Iron Man. He looks terrible.
He did look
Everybody
bad.
else looked good. Then they showed Cap. What did I tell you?
No.
Captain America does
Yep.
not wear a fucking flak jacket. No
Yep.
way, no how. That's what the shield is for. He's supposed to be a super soldier and so skilled. He runs at you with the vibranium shield, which is like practically bulletproof in the
They could
comic.
stop. Yes.
Bounces everything away. He doesn't need a flak jacket.
Doesn't need backup.
If he
He is.
does, don't make it so ugly and bulky. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus, like Captain America looked like a soldier off of Afghanistan, which is like that shouldn't be. Like, you got Iron Man's super sleek armor over there. You
Yeah.
couldn't give a little bit of that to Cap and just Iron Man go like, hey, just wear this plate shield here and on your back and you'll be good to go just in case someone shoots at you from behind. Like,
Yeah, it was definitely made that whole game, the premise, the character design, the plot, the setting, the villains, it was definitely not made by somebody who understood the universe or at least understood what people liked about the movies because that magic was 100% gone and it could have been really easy to emulate that and
well,
they just failed on every level.
you're supposed to have these guys at Marvel Games. Bill Roseman has been with Marvel a long time. He did not start out in games. He's been like I want to say he was like a Marvel editor for comic books for a long time. So
Yeah.
why Marvel Games as a big head studio isn't like stepping in with these designs and being like, you might want to rethink that. That doesn't look so good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
It's
know the big
frustrating.
complaint with licensed games was, oh, well, there are licenses and there's certain things we can and can't do, but maybe that's probably why. Nobody complained about the Arkham games looking like crap because they looked fantastic. Because A, it was a
Yeah, they're
WB
fun.
studio, but B, somebody at WB DC Comics was involved saying like, go this way, go that way.
And you fought people that mattered. Like the villains were in there. Like when you think Batman, you think Penguin, Joker, Two Face, Mr. Freeze. Like, and guess what? They were there. You're
Yep.
not fighting Taskmaster or some random. I don't. You know more Batman villains than I do, but you're not fighting like some throwaway like Poison Ivy's cousin or something.
Well,
Like you're actually fighting
that's
main people.
that's the magic about these games, though, is that they
Yeah.
have the opportunity to build these villains up in a way that makes them like look at Arkham Knight. He has a whole game named after him. Even though we all knew it was Jason Todd, if you read the comics and kind of paid attention to it, it's like it's got to be Jason Todd, right? Come on. But they introduced that character, that armor, in the comics because it
Hmm.
was so popular in the video games. It's a completely different person in the armor. That's fine, and I like
Right.
that backstory they introduced for the character.
Yeah.
Um, but you have an opportunity to pull these villains and make them real characters in this game and to introduce them before they get to the movies or flesh them out
Yeah.
a little bit after they were used in the movies and
Right.
turn them into real fan favorites. And the fact that they missed that entirely, if that's the case, if it's just MODOK, Taskmaster, and Abomination, like that's a huge miss.
Agreed. Well, I agree. The only yeah, and I definitely Cyberpunk for sure. I think that was a major flop for a zillion different reasons. The other one that I'm going to throw out there was Battletoads. And maybe I know it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek remaster, rebuild of it, whatever. Anyway, I think when Battletoads actually was willed into existence by the fans and actually came out and sucked, because I did play it. I think that's when you really, if there was ever a defining moment in Microsoft's game library, the fact that they stood behind this product and were like, yeah, we got Battletoads. It's like, okay, you guys really need help. Like this is not where you should be spending. You shouldn't spend one penny on this game. And they did, and they made it. It was trash.
Like I think Microsoft has this thing with Rare where they think those properties are valuable, those
Right?
IPs.
Yeah, they did
And
that rare replay and
I mean,
right.
Rare Replay is a fine value in gaming if you're a fan of those old games. I never
Nostalgia. Yeah.
never played most of those, so even when they gave it away for free, I still don't think I've done anything. So I never played Perfect Dark because you got no nostalgia there.
Yeah.
So when they announced the Perfect Dark remake, I was not like, "Oh my God, it's Perfect Dark!" I was like, "You couldn't come up with anything better, and you went to this old ass N64 game,
Yeah. The well is dry. Right.
Like seriously." So I think that Microsoft needs to kill the rare nostalgia bug it has and just come up with new stuff.
They got all these studios. Hopefully, they're making new things. That's the hope because they can get it done. Like Ori was
That's
really
what
good.
this initiative studio was supposed to be, is brand new studio, brand new game, and then what does it turn out to be? Well, it's Perfect Dark. Well, whoop-de fucking do. Like you call it anything else, I think it still would have done pretty well. The fact that it
Yeah.
was supposed to be an exclusive on Xbox.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's a lot. There's not a lot of love lost for some of these older franchises, and they keep trying to make it a thing, and it's not a thing.
Crackdown 3.
Oh God, yeah, that was bad too.
So I don't know about Halo Infinite, man. I really don't. I think the multiplayer will be fine. I think I mean, certainly anybody can fuck it up. It'd be really hard to fuck it up after Halo 5. That
Halo Five
multiplayer suite.
Warzone is masterclass, and still I play a lot of Master Chief Collection still to this day,
If they just
and
copy
it's still fun.
paste the multiplayer from Halo 5,
They'll be
I
fine.
think they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
But I don't know. This old retro art style, like, is not what we're looking. I gotta say it. That's a mistake, and I hope they totally shove that out the window. Because here's what we're looking for with these new consoles, right? We're looking for the next best thing, the next big thing. And like I
Yeah.
keep talking to you every year about this when we were speculating, what are these new consoles going to do? Like it's very clear that these new consoles are not about power. They're about loading speed. They're not about graphical quality. They're about loading speed in 60 frames a second.
Yep.
So you're not
Right.
going to get this jump we got from
No.
PlayStation 1 to 2 to 3 to 4.
Agreed.
It's
Agreed.
like this is a PS4 game that runs a way better on this machine than it does on
Right.
this older one. I think is pretty clear until we get much, much further along. Halo looked the way it did because it was on Xbox, the first one. and then it evolved into 2 and evolved into 3. And if you've watched Red versus Blue, you've seen the evolutions, and they do look better
Yeah,
game
yeah,
to
they do.
game. You know, you can change the armor design all you want, but like don't make it cell shaded or ish, and don't pull
I
back
know.
on the detail. Like make it look like the classic armor, but turn up the grime, turn up the detail, turn up the reflections, all
I
that
agree.
stuff. And this retro style where the detail is lacking because they want it to feel more like the first game, like that game is 20 years old now, right? Almost. That's not what gamers are looking for
That's not what we want.
nowadays.
No, it's not. I mean, there's still nostalgia in the simplicity of how that game works and plays and feels, and it's fun. But you're right. Your next generation, your flagship title, which it's kind of not now, but it still is going to be really when it comes out. You got to make a defining moment, and yeah, I think they're still stuck looking in the rearview mirror on a lot of their games, and I think that's what's holding them back.
So yeah, I hope the not machine games, but the Bethesda in general can push them forward and
I hope so, man. I hope so. I
really.
hope there's some injection of fresh ideas in there because they need them. And maybe if they really are integrated into other studios, maybe you start to see deeper plot threads in existing games. Maybe you see, I don't know, crafting in Halo. Maybe people don't want that, but I don't know. You got to throw ideas out there and say, okay, clearly like God of War evolved the franchise radically from what it was, and people liked it. They've added an RPG light system, and people enjoyed it, getting new weapons and gear sets and so I'm not saying everything's got to be an RPG, but my point is, you saw the original God of War to today. They're not even the same game, but you could do that with other franchises. You could do that with Halo. You could do that with Battletoads. You could have done that with I don't know any of these. Perfect Arc, really, but are they going to, or is it going to be like, hey, you like that game? Here it is again. That's what's got us to where we are, and it's gone on long enough that I just think it's their culture. I don't think they're going to take chances.
I think what gaming in general needs to do though is like they need to, if they want to push these franchises or something, like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they need to speed up a little bit. This like 4 or 5 years in between games.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Now, I'm not a developer, so I can't speak to it, but you can't tell me that you can't finish a game and then go, all right, well, let's improve those assets a little bit and work on a new story and hire some new voice actors to tell a new
Right.
story and do what they're doing with Miles Morales of here's a Spider-Man game, here's Miles Morales. It's half the size, same thing as Lost Legacy, which I really enjoyed as well.
Yeah.
This half the size thing a little bit later, great, and then put the main team on to the next game or split them or something. Like
I agree.
they got to speed this up. This 6 years in between games from Halo 5 to Infinite is going to be like what 6 or 7 years. It's a long time.
Longer. Yeah.
And I would like to get back. I've been talking about this with you for years. I'd want to get back to those years where we got, 4 Gears games in a fucking generation. We got two.
Oh, I
We
know.
got one Halo game in this generation, this last generation. One.
Yep. Yeah, Halo 5 came out in 2015. So yeah, it's been a while and it's ready. Especially as radical as an overhaul is if there isn't a radical overhaul, even more so what have you guys been doing? That's the worst thing. It's like, hey, we're going back to the way it looked before. It's like it took you 6 years to do that? Like, come on, man.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree. So out of all the games, what is your number one
My
game of the year? And I think it's the same
my
as mine.
number one
But
game of the year. So what are your qualifications on game of the year?
I'll give you. Here's what I did because I always come up with these ideas. I have three games that to me were head and shoulders above all other games I played this year. If you want to pick one of those three as my favorite, I'm fine with that. But these are the three games that like, if you stranded me on an island and you're like you could only play three
Okay.
games, these would be the ones you would play. It doesn't have. It could be an original idea, just something that really stood out. Because there's a lot of games. I like I said, I just took a list of ones that I kind of looked at. 2020, despite the fact that there's a lot of throwaway games, was a very busy year. You had the new generation, a lot of games squeezing in under the radar right at the end there. So yeah, my question to you is like, what really stands out to you? Like, whoa, that really. In 5 years from now, it's gonna, you're gonna feel it.
I think my game of the year, if I had to pick, let me pick one or pick three.
That's up to you. It's
All
your
right,
list.
let's pick.
I have three, but that doesn't mean you have to have three.
I think I have two. The games that
Fair
I
enough.
enjoyed playing the most this year that I could not wait to go back to are the two big PlayStation releases from this year. Last of Us Part 2, really enjoyed playing that. Like that was a game where I was like, I got free time, the kids are asleep, okay, I can play this game.
Sneak in a few minutes.
I'm gonna
Yep.
play it and I'm gonna play it tonight and I'm invested in the story. Like even until the last, the end, I was still like I'm still
Yeah.
invested in the story even though I don't like where this is going. I still want to see if
Right.
she redeems herself. Um, and then the second one was Ghost of Tsushima. I think far and away that game,
Oh
the
yeah.
combat, the stances, all that stuff was great. And I know you played that game as like I'm a samurai, come face me, so honorable. And that was a
I
mistake.
walked in the front door and waited.
I think that was a mistake because I used all the gadgets that I had. I did try and do some of the ghost stuff and stealth kill people and all this stuff. But the fact that you could play one way and not the other, and still the story pushed you in the like, God,
Yes, that I
I can
think
still be
is.
honorable. My uncle will still like me. And it's like, nope, nope, nope. Like they should have told you from the beginning. Like,
I agree. The way I did not deserve the ending I got, I understand it, but I don't respect it because I was very honorable and I walked in, I did standoffs every possible place I could. I never stealthed unless it was absolutely required of the mission. I fought just because the combat was so fluid and so fun, and I just loved just the mechanics behind it. Very similar way to how I play Assassin's Creed as well. I just walk in the front door and just do a lot of parrying, blocking skills. I love that. Yeah, and then you get to the ending and it's like you're dishonorable. I'm like, I was dishonorable once, and it's because you made me, and now I gotta fight you. Like, sorry, dude. But yeah, for me, that was definitely one of my three. The art style was insane. The way that the universe drew you in without having a map, just the foxes, which got a little repetitive, but it was still cool. The birds, the wind, the way the wind flew. It was very clear what was the main points of interest. If they never put a map in that game, you still would have figured it out.
yeah, I really enjoyed
And
that
I
game.
loved it for
Really
that.
enjoyed it. The art style, I think that going over the Isle of Tsushima, like it really made me want to go. Made me want to travel over there to
Yeah, see it.
Japan and like see. Like I've been to Japan, but we didn't go around. We only had like a couple days there, and we were working. But makes me want to like take some extra time the next time I go if there's no global
Yeah.
pandemic,
If you could breathe
to
fresh
explore this
air.
place. Beautiful, yeah. God forbid you get to walk around somewhere.
The other thing I really liked about that game that I think Valhalla failed on, in terms of open world games, was the contextual clues of where you had to go made logical sense. You would walk around and it'd be like, hey, north of the lake, find me here. And it was very clear what they were referring to. I think Assassin's Creed suffered from that because a lot of times it's like, hey, go here to find something. And I'm like, wait, where? Like over that hill over there. And it wasn't very clear. I think they did a really good job building a world and making enough landmarks that made it matter. And playing a game without a mini map like that, as big as it was, is a pretty big feat, I think.
Yeah, I thought their map worked for the most part. I like the wind thing, you
Absolutely.
know. Um,
Absolutely.
that was the only game I think this year that actually used the touchpad for something
And it mattered. Yeah, it was
that
useful.
is useful.
My other two games, one you've probably never heard of, Spelunky 2, which I loved. I think you played, I think you came over and played Spelunky with me for like 4 seconds one time.
I've played some Spelunky with you. I got it.
Um,
The thing I think that didn't gel with me was it's always random and you're
oh, yeah.
never gonna like master it or whatever. I was
You'll,
like,
it's always going to screw you. It's designed, it's like the Dark Souls of side scrolls. The traps are so meticulous when you get hit, you bounce around and you die and it's over. And it's frustrating. And then the other one for me definitely was Call of Duty Warzone. Not the single player experience, Warzone, which I still actively play daily. The fact that they took all the guns and all the characters from Call of Duty Modern Warfare and morphed them into the same guns and characters with Call of Duty Black Ops is masterclass. All the hard work you put in on the first one carries over your weapon charms, your guns, your skins, everything, and it continues. It's a very smart idea that they had. Very, very forward thinking of them, and it's free to play. Like it's best of both worlds. It really is.
I really enjoyed Modern Warfare in 2020. I never got the Warzone part. I never. I'm not
Wasn't your
good at
thing, huh?
that. Very difficult. Like I played with my cousin uh, more than a handful of times to do the
Yeah.
loot version of that. I forget what it was called, where you go and find a bunch of money,
Plunder.
plunder. I thought that was
Yeah.
fun, but that's because we were coordinating. But I don't know how I would, uh, like just solo playing that, how I would survive. Like I did it a
If
couple times.
only you had a friend or friends who played every day who knew how to walk you through it, and we could be a 3 or 4 man hit squad. That's fun.
If only this fucking Assassin's Creed game wasn't so long.
If only.
And if only I wasn't so single-minded about the games I have to.
I get it. I get it. Look, it's not going anywhere. I still play Wars. I play it on my computer. I play it on my PlayStation. It's cross-play. If you want to play it on your Xbox, there's a lot of ways to play it. A lot of ways to get into it for sure.
That's
For
good.
sure. Camera just cut out.
I can see.
Well, I'm glad you could see me. I'm trying to make the video look decent.
You're a little fun.
Well, sir, have you said everything you wanted to
I
say?
think so. What are you looking forward to in 2021? What do you think?
That's how we always wrapped it up. I was gonna say I forgot what it was. There's always one thing we said that was like the
What
grand
do you think
finale.
2021 is going to bring us?
Vaccine cure. No. What do I want to see? I'm really curious about Deathloop. I know Deathloop's going to be coming out in a couple months. I think it's been delayed again. I love Bethesda games. I think Prey did not get the love it deserves. I think Dishonored did not get the love it deserves. I think Deathloop is taking the best of everything and putting it together. And that's the one game. And I'm hopeful that this Bethesda acquisition doesn't suck. And I'm hoping this game is as awesome as I want it to be. So I think that for me is like the one thing I really need, a
A
good
good
Deathloop game.
Deathloop game. A
A
good
good one.
one.
Yeah.
I think I'm looking forward to what do we even know that's coming out? I mean, I want to see a redemption for Halo. I really do. I want them to come back at us and blow us away.
They've had a
I
lot of
don't think
chances.
that
A
game
lot
is
of
now.
chances.
I don't know if they've announced when it's coming out or not, but I really don't see that game coming out before November, if that.
Same. I don't think it's coming out this year.
You know, if they wanted to push it until March, I think that's a good window. It sucks for Xbox as a whole in general, but
Yeah.
March is usually a good time to put out a big blockbuster game. I don't know. I want to see a new Batman game. Batman Gotham Knights. I think is what I'm looking forward to the most
Yeah.
in 2021. And even though we haven't seen anything, we've just seen an announcement. But the next God of War has me really intrigued. Has me really intrigued to see where that.
Is it because
No,
Alana Pierce is the
no, I
writer
don't think
now?
she's a writer on that. I if that game is as far enough along as it is, and it's coming out this year, and we haven't seen a lick of it, she's not writing on it. She's probably writing on the next thing.
God of
Well,
War
I thought they
3
said they were
confirmed.
making like a second game also.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just making that up. Yeah, I forgot about that Batman game. I'm curious because it looked good. Yeah, I mean, Warner Brothers, when they put their mind to it, they make some good games. Like you mentioned, Shadow of Mordor, despite the original ending, there are a little bit of hiccups, but that was a phenomenal experience. All the Arkham games, Masterclass. So when they really want to make a good
They
game,
can, and
they can do it.
I'm hoping Gotham Knights is more reminiscent of Batman Origins, and it's from the same studio that did Arkham Origins. Um, so
Yeah,
that has me hope. But Arkham Origins was so long ago. It was an entire generation ago since that studio put out a game. So I don't,
it was.
you
It
want to say it's
was.
from the same studio, but is the team the same? Is the leadership the same? I don't think so. I don't think so. Uh, we'll see.
We will see. Yeah, that's that. You're right. That
And
that could
I'm
be a good one.
interested to see if we see any more of Suicide Squad versus the Justice League, because that trailer was like
Oh,
interesting, but at the same time it was like, really? I don't know.
that could be their Marvel's Avengers.
Maybe
Maybe
it
it's
is.
better to
Maybe
skip that
they're
one.
overhauling it right now because they're like, people do not want this. We need to just focus it on and make it a single player thing and not make it an open world. Like,
What do you
yeah,
mean fighting
yeah.
robots aren't in
I mean,
right
you
now?
remember the rumors for a while was like that Rocksteady game was going to be, what was it? Like Justice League World or something like that. Like this open world Justice League game stuff.
Yes, yeah, where you could play with. Yeah, I still think that would be a cool idea. But yeah, that I remember there was an early leak of you. You would have multiple characters, lots of plot lines. You could swap out characters freely. Destiny like weekly dailies. The city was evolving. I
I
was okay
think
with that, but
Avengers has killed
maybe
that
not.
idea, and if they're, I hope
I
they're
think so too.
overhauling it to just be a driven focused game because
Yeah,
there's really, there's no games that really do that outside of like these Sony titles, like Last of Us, Naughty Dog,
true.
um, Ghost is open world, so maybe it doesn't count. Uncharted, the last, a Lost Legacy was open world ish. Um, I don't know, but like a
Yeah, I see
single
what you're saying.
focus single player game, like nobody does that except Sony nowadays, and that I find that a little strange. Like Ubisoft are all the same, so I think we need more
Stick to what
studios to
works.
push that idea because I mean the Batman games are famous. They're awesome. They're great. Like just do what's good, man. And it doesn't have to be Batman, but stick with that Batman formula per se of like, focused kind of thing instead of trying to get this, you know, skin money or all this revenue stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Just stick to the basics. Let the game sell itself, and if it's a good game, clearly we know that to be true. You don't have to. I mean, like Last of Us, there's no DLC, and it sold zillions of copies. Now that may be a unique situation, but the point is, you can make a good game and it stands on its own merits. You don't need to have oodles of skins and costumes. Like just make the game good and people will buy it. That's a general
Yes.
fact.
Oh, there you go. Over
Well,
under
it's
on
been fun,
Halo.
man. This
Over under on Halo being good. Think it has a
ooh
chance? You think it has a chance?
no.
No.
I'm gonna buy it. I mean, well, I got it with Game
The
Pass.
ultimate Halo fan.
I am the ultimate Halo fan, and I mean, I'm wearing a Banish shirt from Atriox's crew, but I'll tell you, I don't have high hopes.
Eh,
I'll be ready. I'll be
All
there
these
though,
Halo
man. I'll be
characters been
talking about it.
banished, just boom, just gone. It's
I hope
still
so,
gonna
dude.
be
All I can say, and I guess the last thing I'll say, I figure we're wrapping up, but I love Halo. You know, I love Halo. It's like my favorite thing ever. And if I am worried, you should be worried. Because I'm going to like it even if it's garbage. And I liked and defended 5 for a long time before I was beaten down by the masses. So I'm not even going to venture how good, I'm not even going to try to fight on Infinite. I'm just going to accept it's probably not good. I'll just roll and die with everyone else and just accept 343 has effectively
I
murdered this series
I
three
really
times
wonder if
now.
they're gonna blunder themselves, shoot themselves in the face, so to speak, because Halo is made by the big moments, right? The big set pieces. And
Yes.
I don't know how you can do that in an open world shooter.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to set a tone and a pace unless it's a very corridor esque moment. And if the open world solely exists to connect these corridor moments together, it's going to be very transparent and not fun. You're
Yeah.
exactly right.
So I think that I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's all scrapped. Maybe they're just like, forget it. It's not infinite.
That's why it's called Infinite.
Infinite development. Halo Infinite development.
Development Infinite Hell. I don't know, man. My last question for you is: are we going to record any more in 2021, or am I going to not see you again until
I mean, you're
2022?
gonna see me every day on FaceTime.
I do see you every day. I
I
do see
don't
you every
know
day.
if we're gonna do this again, and we'll
Okay.
see. We'll see. Got interesting
Okay.
developments. I thought
Okay.
maybe during E3 last year there'd be something to talk about, but since there was no E3
There was not.
and it was like
There was
forever
not.
long and it was really not melodramatic but disappointing and boring that it wasn't worth having the discussion.
It was a very long year for a video game YouTube channel. I'll say that. It was a very long year, and I'm very grateful. We got a new year and hopefully some new things to talk
Yes,
about.
we need to play Immortals. We need to play Call of Duty.
You tell me when. You know I'm
Fine.
on. I see you on all the time. You're just sitting there in
I'm
Valhalla,
just
exploring
being
England,
a
exploring
Drengr
England, exploring.
fighting my way.
Drengir. Once you're done, you're almost done. When you're done and you're ready to play some big boy games, jump into Warzone. You give me a call. We'll have some fun because it's really a lot of good. It's good
Alright.
times. It's good times. Well, sir, it's been a
Well,
pleasure.
that is it for me, Brent Cosina, on this edition of BK's Bullets, hijacking the Viper
The
Magic
best.
YouTube channel. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed to Viper Magic's YouTube channel, go search out Viper Magic, VYPERMAJIK, all one word, on YouTube. Click subscribe. He's got thousands of subscribers. He's doing very good. If you are a
Thousands. I do have
subscriber of
thousands
Viper
now.
Magic's YouTube channel and you like comic books, come find me, Brent Cosina, on my YouTube channel, BK's Bullets. That's BK apostrophe S Bullets. Come over and subscribe. We have over 200 subscribers.
Hell yeah, you do. And I'm over there now too.
That's
So if
right.
you just like me, just come over and watch me talk about old
That's right.
DC
Dim is
cartoons.
doing a
And I will post a link to
he
all
is
of
doing
this
a
in the
weekly
description
series
below.
over
All
on
of it.
my channel watching these animated DC movies that have been coming out for the last 15
I
years.
gotta watch another one tonight. Yeah, I got one more in the tank. I have another one I haven't done a video on yet, and then I'm always trying to be 2 weeks ahead just in case. I
I
want to have a
backlogged
backup.
them because you said you want to backlog them, and now look what's happening. You guys keep with it, buddy. You gotta
I got a
keep
job. It's an unpaid
Do
job,
you
but it's
need a
fun. I do
recommendation
enjoy
for
it.
a next
So
one, or do you have one picked out? You're good.
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, if you, I'll always take suggestions. I'll always take suggestions, but I have a. There's no path. It's just
Random.
randomness. But it's things I'm like, ooh, that could be interesting. And I try to pick something that's serious and something that's lighthearted. So I'm kind of bouncing around on that. But I think there's like
It's quite a lot.
47 or so videos in there. So I've got pretty much a year's worth, and by then you'll be
Um,
sick of me. So
my recommendation would be
okay, I love recommendations.
Batman Under the Red Hood or
Okay, I'll write this
the
down.
animated Wonder Woman.
Ooh, Wonder Woman might be good
It
because I
would
just watched the
redeem
movie.
Wonder Woman 84 because that was for the longest time until the first Wonder Woman movie came out. It was like, this is how good a Wonder Woman movie can be. This was great. It's the first, it's
Okay.
like way down at the bottom of the list of like one of the earlier ones that came out. So, not, there was Wonder Woman
Okay.
Bloodlines is on there as well. That came out in like 2019, I believe, or 2020. Not that
Yeah.
one, just the one that's called strictly Wonder Woman. That would be my recommendation. That one's really good.
Okay. Well, look forward to your YouTube channel. You may see. I mean, I'm going to get through all of them, so it's not like either you're going to yank me off, we're not going to be friends anymore, but I'm committed. I am doing it. I like doing YouTube videos, and this is something that made sense. So, since I can't see you to get my influx of comics and I don't have a way to get Comixology or
You have a
really
way.
not
You're
into
just
it any.
cheap.
Yeah, I'm cheap. Yeah, right. You got me. I spent all my money on
Spend
my
all your money on
computer.
your computer and your collector's editions, of which I haven't seen one yet.
It's been a
Been a while
while.
since you unboxed
What do
one.
I have
Never really
ordered?
bought one.
I don't think I have
I
one
thought you bought
anytime
the
coming
Avor
up.
one, the female Avor.
I did a video on it.
You did? I think I watched it. I think I did.
I can just press this button here. Watch. I want to show everybody watching at home. Check this out. Brent's gone. Just like that. Just like that. All right, my friend. It's been real. It's been fun. Thank you for having me on your podcast, and hopefully we do this again soon. And if not, I'll see you next
See
year.
you next year.
Bye.